Week 35, day one. We're going to be talking this week the quality that we're trying to develop. I even have a hard time getting away from that word. We're not trying. We're going to develop this week is conscientious. Now, keep in mind the whole concept of this program is to make you a role model so that when people see you, they see conscientious. They see responsibility. There is a real shortage of role models in this world today. As I was told early in the lessons, the reason people don't accept responsibility, or the young people don't, is because they don't have any role models. The politicians blame each other, the Democrats blame the Republicans, the teachers blame the parents blame the teachers, the coaches blame the kids blame the coaches, so on, so on, so on. Well, the truth of it is your responsibility to be the role model. And this week we're going to work on you being a role model for conscientiousness. Now this is Monday. This is the first day of the week, and we're going to write our goals. Remember that the very first quality that we developed was to be purpose-driven. And we have worked 34 weeks, 34 days. You should have been writing goals. Okay, let's have a final lesson on goals. You want to identify your goal. And you want to write it down as if it had already been accomplished. You don't write that I want to lose 12 pounds. You write I have lost 12 pounds. The three greatest words in psychology: act as if. If you act as if you're enthusiastic, you'll be enthusiastic. If you act as if you're a purpose-driven person, you'll become a purpose-driven person. Act as if you've already accomplished the goal that you write. You write it down, and the way you write it down as if it's already been done, that you've already accomplished it. The second thing that you do is you identify the obstacles that you're going to have to overcome to reach that goal. And it's important that you write down what are you going to have to overcome. If your goal is to make a grade on a test, you know that you're going to have to spend time studying. So when you write your plan up to determine that, you know you're going to have to put down Tuesday night, I've got to spend an hour studying, Wednesday night. You don't try to jam it all in the night before. You take your time and you get it done during the week. Well, in order to do that, you're going to have some obstacles. But because there's obstacles don't mean you stop. You know, it's like the plane that you're on, and if you're going on a plane and the pilot comes on and says, we're going to have to make a detour because we've got some really bad weather here in front of us, so we're going to have to make a detour to the south and then go back to the north. But he doesn't say, we're going to stop and go back where we started from. We're going to turn the plane around and go back to Love Field and start all over again. That's not what he says. He says we're going to make a detour. Well, when you put the obstacles in front of you, you understand there's going to be some detours as you go before you get to that goal. You don't always get there just immediately. Sometimes there's detours. You got to have a plan to overcome your obstacles. A goal without a plan. If you don't have a plan, remember the second quality we developed was to be committed, to be a role model for a person with commitment. Well, being committed simply means I'm going to write a plan. I'm not going to say I'm going to make 94 on the English test this Friday. That's good. Now you write down and you say, okay, I'm going to study Tuesday night from 9 to 10. I'm going to study Wednesday night from 11 to 1, whatever it might be. but I'm going to get my study done. Maybe I'm going to spend an hour with a tutor, especially if it's a subject like math or whatever it might be. But whatever your goal is, no matter what it is, just like when I worked for the Southwest Bible Company, every Sunday you sat down and you said, okay, I'm going to sell, this week, I'm going to sell 27 sets of books. Well, that meant that you had to call on 300 houses because you're going to sell 10% of what you sell. So if your goal is to sell 27 sets of books, you need to call on 270 houses. Well, that's your plan. If I get up at get started at 8 o'clock in the morning and I go until 9 o'clock at night, I'm going to call on 30 people a day. That should get me the 27 sets of books. That's my plan. Now, along the way, there may be a detour. Certainly may be a detour. You may end up at one house for 2 hours in order to make the sale. Well, that doesn't mean that you have to start all over again. It just means you've got a detour and you may have to go until 9:30 or 10, or you may have to start at 7:30 the next morning. But you've got a plan in order to get there. I want to lose 25 pounds. I'm going to lose 25 pounds. Okay, what's the obstacle? Fried foods, French fries, potato chips, soft drinks, carbonated drinks, ice cream, candy, cakes, sugary products. Those are the obstacles. Now, how do I avoid those? You make a plan and you say, I'm only going to eat this, this, and this. And you make out your plan for the week of what you're going to eat. And you sit down with your mom and you say, here's what I want to eat this week. And your mom will help you. Number 4, have a date line. In other words, you've got to set a time with it. You can't just say, I'm going to sell 27 sets of books. You've got to say, I'm going to sell 27 sets of books by Saturday at 9 o'clock. I'm going to lose 25 pounds by May the 3rd. Whatever it might be, but you've got to put a date with it. You've got to be a time with it. You identify those people that can help you achieve your goal. Now, why is that important? If you need that tutor in math to make that good grade in your class, you need to identify that person and when you're going to work with them. You need to identify everybody that can help you and how they're going to help you. And then number 6, you understand the difference between short-term and long-term goals. A long-term goal may be achieved by setting short-term goals. In other words, if I'm going to lose 25 pounds in 8 weeks, now you take those 8 weeks and you break them down into 3 pounds a week or 2 pounds a week, 12 weeks. You can lose 2 pounds in a week. Now, if you lose 10 pounds in a week, it's going to come back quickly. How you lose it is the same way it's going to come back. I'm an expert on losing weight, I promise you. But if you're going to lose weight, you want to lose it slowly. So all your goal is, I want to lose 1.5 pounds this week or 2 pounds. That is a short-term goal. The long-term goal is the 25 pounds. But you've got to do it. The story we talked about, Jim Corbett's the heavyweight champion of the world. He's doing his road work in the morning. He's going around, and there's a guy fishing, and he's throwing the big fish back, and he's keeping the little fish. Corbett stops and asks him, what are you doing? You're throwing the big fish back and keeping the little fish. He said, I got a small frying pan. You don't want a small frying pan, you want a big frying pan. So what do you got to do? If you got a small frying pan, you got to cut that big fish up into small pieces. You don't lose 25 pounds overnight. You don't bench press 315 pounds in a week. You don't throw a shot put 55 foot in a week. You don't do any of these things that are worthwhile. You don't sell 27 sets of books in a day. but you cut it into little pieces. And then that's what keeps you going. Cut your goals into little pieces this week. Write them down. Write down your obstacles. Write your plan to overcome those obstacles. Write down the people that's going to help you. And then cut them into little pieces. And let's make sure we get the goals done this week. Amen.